The most entertaining football in Italy isn't being played by one of the classic powers. With Milan trying to settle on a manager and personnel, Inter adapting to Conte, and Juve struggling to find their offensive spark under Sarri, you can look to Rome to find goals courtesy of Immobile and Lazio, or look further north to Bergamo, where Gian Piero Gasperini's Atalanta are close to beating last season's top score of 77 goals, with 12 matches left to play. Hey there, I'm Adrian, and welcome to Rabona TV's look at why you should be watching Atalanta. Now, I did a video like this on Wolves in the past, basically aimed at anyone who's looking to follow an entertaining team in a league they may not be super familiar with. And without a doubt, the most fun I've had watching Italian football this season has been thanks to Atalanta. Shout out to Lazio as well, but Atalanta are something else. Perhaps their 8-4 aggregate win over Valencia in the Champions League caught your attention? That's pretty much par for the course. By the way, if you like what you see here, then be sure to hit subscribe so you can find your way back easily in the future. 45% of our audience in our past month hadn't subscribed yet, so if that's you, don't be shy and join our community so you can roast my hair that's hiding under my hat with the other 55% of subscribed viewers. Alright, let's go to Bergamo. Bergamo is an industrious city in the same province, Lombardia, as Milan, about a 45-minute drive northeast of Milan. Despite this, just an FYI, Atalanta's biggest rival is not either of the Milan clubs, but Brescia. There's a long history there that goes beyond football, that goes back to the time of the city-states of Europe. But one thing's for sure, going beyond Lombardia in the city of Bergamo, it's all Atalanta. The entire city is blue and black, with everyone bowing down to La Dea, or the goddess, that is emblazoned on the club badge, and is a nickname for the team. The city of Bergamo is mad for Atalanta, as I just said, and that translates to one of the most incredible atmospheres in Italy, as the Stadio Atleti Azzurri d'Italia may only boast a capacity of around 21,000, but it's quality over quantity in this situation. They hook them at a young age, as Atalanta sends a replica kit to every newborn baby in Bergamo. In regards to their trophy cabinet, it's not very big at all, but some context is important. Atalanta ranks 10th as far as seasons spent competing in the Serie A, with 59 seasons under their belt in total, but there has definitely been some dips along the way. They've been relegated to the Serie B 12 times, and in the early 80s, they even dipped down into the Serie C for a season. So while they have a few Serie B titles, they are yet to top the table in the Serie A. Domestic cups? Atalanta won the Coppa Italia in 1963 thanks to a hat-trick from Angelo Domenghini, but since then, they've unfortunately had a hat-trick of runners-up performances. So what I'm trying to establish here is they were a bona fide Serie A club with an impassioned fan base, but without a habit of winning silverware, and a club that had been relegated 3 times in the 21st century. And so, let's see what Gian Piero Gasperini has done to this team to get them to the point they're at today. In June of 2011, Inter Milan hired Gian Piero Gasperini as a replacement to Leonardo, at a time when Inter were having trouble finding their feet post-Mourinho. Gasperini, however, didn't last at Inter either, and was sacked in September of the 2011-12 season following losses to Palermo and Novara. Across all competitions, he had lost 4 of the last 5 matches. After stints at Palermo and Genoa, he was hired by Atalanta for the 2016-17 season, and he feared for his job after just 5 matches again. Of those 5, he lost 4 and was on his way to becoming the first coach to be sacked in this young Serie A season. He was on his way to the same fate he suffered at Inter. But following a 3-1 win over Crotone, he was given new life, and with it, he put it all on the table and gambled on his young players against prime Maurizio Sarri Napoli. He was awarded for his efforts, as Atalanta's second win on the trot ended Napoli's unbeaten run at the time, the only unbeaten team in Italy, and thus sparked the start of an amazing relationship between Gasperini and La Dea. That season they finished 4th, earning them a place in the Europa League for the 2017-18 season. Speaking back in 2017, Nicky Bandini said of Gasperini's influence over the club, quote, Atalanta's squad is not the 5th most talented in the league, and yet there they are. So on that basis alone, you have to give credit to Gasperini. He's been brave enough to blood young players rather than seek the safest path to 40 points. And on a game-by-game basis, you can also count plenty of occasions when his tactical maneuvering was essential. The one that immediately pops into mind was the first Roma game, when Atalanta were 1-0 down at halftime, but absolutely blew them away after swapping to a 3-4-3. He's one of the sharpest minds in Serie A for that stuff." End quote. That 3-4-3 formation, which has evolved slightly into a 3-4-1-2 over time to play with 2 strikers, has become the hallmark of Gasperini's Atalanta. A fast, attacking style of play that boasts 3 at the back, wide wing backs that charge up and down the flanks, and a maestro that floats ahead of the 2 central midfielders, pulling the strings for the striking duo ahead of him. But who are these guys? While they struggled for goals during the 2017-18 season, finishing in 7th, they haven't been short on goals for years now. Last season, the 2018-19 season, they scored a remarkable 77 goals, the most of any team in the league, and finished in 3rd, thus qualifying for the Champions League for the first time in their history. Their squad is distinctly mixed as far as nationalities go, with very few Italians regularly featuring in the starting 11. The Argentinian Papu Gomez, the captain, emerged as a top player at the club under Gasperini's watch, and has since hit double figures in the assist column in every Serie A season under Gasperini. Many of those assists going to Colombia's Duvan Zapata, who scored a career high of 23 goals in the 2018-19 season in Gasperini's attacking setup. This year, while he has been injured often and only made 16 appearances for Atalanta in the Serie A, he still scored 13 goals and set up 5. But perhaps the most incredible story to watch, from an attacking point of view at least, has been the Slovenian striker Josip Ilicic. Having signed with the club since the 17-18 season, his goal tally hasn't dropped under 11 once. Now, he started the 2019-20 season slowly, scoring once in the opening 10 matches across all competitions, but since then, he has been one of the most in-form attackers in Europe. In 2020 alone, he scored 14 goals in 11 appearances, and this is crucial because Atalanta have been on a tear in 2020, both in the wins column and in the goals department. 15 goals and 5 assists from 21 Serie A appearances for Ilicic, not bad at all. The midfield 4 is typically composed of Martin de Roon and Hans Hatboer, 2 Dutch players who found their way onto the national team thanks to their exploits at Atalanta, a German in Robin Gosens, and a Swiss midfield linchpin in Remo Freuler. Golini typically takes his place in goal as one of the few Italians in the squad, while ahead of him, you'll most commonly find the Brazilian Rafael Toloi, an Albanian in Berat Jimsiti, and often another Argentinian in Jose Luis Palomino. And when considering the talent they have in the side, it must be remembered that Atalanta don't have a massive budget to work with. In the past, their budget has been compared to that of Burnley's, the 9th place side in the Premier League. Going further, Atalanta's modest ground back in Bergamo doesn't meet UEFA standards, and due to renovations, they played all of their UEFA Champions League home matches at the San Siro. Gasperini is truly working with the talent at his disposal and is not able to, go to the market when they need a few goals, as if they need any goals though. This year alone, Gasperini's attacking style has yielded fantastic results. From 12 matches, they have won 8, drawn 2, and lost 2. A good record, of course, but it's how they have won these matches that makes it all the more amazing to watch unfold. From those 12 matches, Atalanta have scored 40 goals. On 3 occasions, they have scored 5 or more goals, twice hitting 7 past their opponents, against Torino and Lecce. And this is in 2020 alone. If we're to consider the first half of the season, it gets all the more impressive. They beat AC Milan 5-0 before the Christmas break, and then stomped Parma 5-0 upon the return in January. Back in October, they followed up their 5-1 loss against Man City in the Champions League with a 7-1 victory over Udinese. So if you're keeping track, they've scored 7 goals on 3 separate occasions in this season alone. They've scored 3 or more goals in 15 different matches across all competitions. So you get it by now. Gasperini's style and the personnel that are playing in this style has yielded a ton of goals. Despite shying away from changing up the starting 11, Atalanta have had more goals scored by substitutes than any other team in the league, proving that if a coach can integrate a system that all of the players buy into and understand, there's still room for it to be successful if you are to remove one of the pieces of the puzzle and replace it with another. Luis Muriel, for example, is second in Atalanta's Serie A scoring despite starting just 9 of his 23 appearances. And I mean, let's compare their goal-scoring exploits to that of their rivals. As of now, Atalanta's penchant for scoring in bunches has been enough to move them up into 4th in the Serie A. Besides scoring 14 more goals than the second highest scorers, Lazio, no other team in the top 6 has managed to score 7 goals in a single match. Something you'll remember Atalanta have done 3 times this season alone. In fact, as far as Juve are concerned, they have scored 4 or more goals just twice, but they are also the league leaders, which, well, I mean, that counts for everything when we're talking about silverware. Inter, they've hit 4 on 4 occasions. Lazio, the same, though they've gone one better than Inter and Juve with a couple of 5-goal matches. With Sarri continuing to insist on Ronaldo as a center forward, it's clear that Juve's attack isn't firing like it should. Inter, when one of Lautaro or Lukaku isn't performing, the entire attack falters. With this onus on attack, you'd fear for Atalanta's defense, right? And while they aren't anywhere close to airtight, their defense ranks 6th in the league, their influx of goals causes them to have the best goal difference in the league. So all things considered, if you're looking for a team that will entertain you, then Atalanta is the team to watch in the Serie A. Gasperini's brand of football has thrived in Bergamo, and you can understand why the already football-mad city has endeared themselves even more to their manager and club. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned something new from this video, and if you want to find your way back to the channel in the future, just hit that subscribe button to make it a little easier for yourself. I'm Adrian, this is Rabona TV, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao!